So digital's over here. A lot of people believe that floppies are over here.
Sure.
Single comics for Ryan.
Thank you.
Okay. But I think I found something that's even further back from floppies, from single issues. Landscape comic books. Are landscape comic books the antagonist to digital comics? And I think that is the case.
You make a good point. Like, I'm a big fan of buying things digitally and ditching the floppies, getting rid of the single issues because they're my least favorite way to read a comic.
Echolands.
I worry about damaging them.
Echolands. Explain what a
you got the
explain
thing
what
here,
it
right?
is.
Let's show the cover. This is a book that is horizontal.
That's right.
There we go.
Look at this. The whole book. You should open this up, man. I want to see. I want to see the comic fam actually has to see these here.
This one you kind of have to. I've tried talking about this at the shop and explaining it to people, and nobody really bites when I try to describe it because this is a hard book to sell.
It's a weird book,
but
I think it's an important book.
I'll hold up some other comic.
There we go. Grab that Reggie book.
But here is the Reggie Collects Guide to Comic Collecting. It's shaped like any normal comic book.
Right.
Staples over here, and it opens that way.
Shout out Shortbox.
There you go. Echolands has the staples on the short side, and it opens long ways.
Long ways.
Which does not even really show up well on camera.
Let's see. Grab that side. I'll grab the side. Let's see if we can actually get something interesting here. Can we both hold it at the same time?
Not on camera, but there you go.
No, I have to do it like this, and you have to do it like that. Make yours closer to the camera. There we go. So see, most of the time we can't do this with a comic book on screen, Comic Fan, but that's because it is a piece of art. Okay, so creative team, let's go through it. Why is this an important book? Because even James Tynan, or Jimmy T, as Ryan has now dubbed him, he recommended this in his newsletter.
He did. But I'm reading his old newsletters, and this book came out in like October or something.
I love it when creators are like, yo, I have all these books that I'm doing right now.
You are flopping this book around. It is a floppy single issue.
I'm so used to just treating my reading books like crap.
I'm over here handing him my Echolands #1, and I'm just like...
Okay. So James is like hyping all of these books, and then side note goes, oh, by the way, go read Echolands. Like, he loves this book.
Yeah, it's lovable.
All right.
But not in a way that I expect.
Okay, so talk to me about the creative team, because this is a run that we actually covered, like the preview of it months ago.
Back when we used to do a segment called About the Previews Guide, focusing on books that are about to come out that we think look cool, we highlighted this book and said, I think this looks cool. I'm excited to read this in 3 months when it's released. This is written by J.H. Williams and W. Haden Blackman. They are co-writers, and J.H. Williams III does the artwork as well as co-writes.
And hot damn does he do the artwork. This thing must take him eons to create, because this is essentially double page spreads the entire issue.
Yeah, they really lean heavily into the landscape format with this book.
All right, so we have this amazing creative team. Dave freaking Stewart on the colors. Dude goes on a coloring spree in this comic. It's outstanding. But as far as narrative goes, not really my thing personally.
I don't disagree.
It's kind of a confusing story, man.
It is very confusing, and I think they want it to be. I think it's supposed to not make much sense, especially right out the gate.
But this is what you're hit with. This
is the first thing you see with the second you turn past the credits. This is the image you are greeted with.
This is page 1, Comic Fam.
Right away, you are just kind of thrown in the deep end, and you realize, like, I'm getting into something here. This might be a mistake. I should probably close this book and leave.
Yeah, what's going on here? Like, it's kind of hard to follow, but damn, it's captivating.
You can see even in. Can you zoom in a little bit? Yeah. You can see even in the top left here an example of the different artwork styles. This is like a flashback to our main character, Hope Red Hood. And you can see the fairy tale world that she kind of comes from. That cottage in the background and the tree in the forest, that looks exactly like a Snow White, like a cartoon.
Right.
It's got this Disney sort of feel to it.
Excellent use of mixed media.
Right. This page is confusing because it is simultaneously a flashback and a flash forward, showing what will happen, I believe, at the end of the story, or maybe at the end of the story arc. I'm not sure exactly. We still have not gotten to this point in the story. But this is a flashback and a flash forward. And then you turn the page and it gets into this wacky present day stuff, which is a trip.
Dude, this comic book is worth reading just for the art, and I seldomly say that.
Right, same.
You know, like typically if the narrative is something that I'm just not digging, I'm not vibing with it, then holy smokes. Then we have, this is the opposite. Like, I don't necessarily care what's going on that much. And really, it's not my favorite thing. It's fantasy meets sci-fi.
I think that's kind of the point. There is a serious mashup of genres happening. And you can even see it right here on the far left on this panel. There's like we were saying before with the fairy tale stuff, it appears to be like a mishmash of a bunch of different types of stories. Like you can see this black and white zombie and vampire and Frankenstein looking characters down here. There is a very cartoony guy right there over Frankenstein's shoulder. There's some realistic looking shopkeeper over here on the left. There's a kaiju looking monster. And this is clearly all taking place in the actual wharf of San Francisco, which is a real place. So there's like all kinds of, this is just you can spend like minutes and minutes and minutes and minutes just staring at each page.
It actually feels rather short, but the amount of time you have to spend on each individual 2-page spread,
right,
it makes up for that. And as long as throughout it, you're able to kind of figure out where they're trying to take you sequentially, you get lost in it like a standard comic book. However, digitally, this would be near impossible.
It's near impossible even to show right here as we're talking about it. You have to zoom in and look and move the camera around, and like when you have this in a physical comic book, you can hold it open and read it pretty clearly, but digital reading of this is going to be a nightmare, and I don't look forward to it.
But the art itself is just stunning. It's spectacular, and it's something that I feel like this is a comic that needs to be on your pull list just because it's a special moment in comic books. Like this is something that is so different, and it feels so different, and the experience is different that you got to give it your time.
I've tried explaining it to people, and whenever I mention that it's sideways, most people go, "Oh, like the '90s," and I don't know what that means because this is the first time I've seen a comic book tell sideways stories. But I've never
probably like Calvin and Hobbes kind of thing, you know?
It's got that same format, but Calvin and Hobbes never leaned into like 2-page spreads like this to fully utilize the length of the panels here.
Yeah, we have some really cool character designs, and overall, just in general, different characters altogether. You know, you mentioned it. You know, we have some cartoony characters. We have mixed media where it looks like photorealism's getting, taken over. But we have like monsters and elves and werewolves and wizards and vampires, and then kaijus. Actually, let me bring it back up. I wonder if I got the Jack Kirby-esque page in here.
I hope so, because there's
look at this
guy is.
Then also you have like Icarus, like this straight up Kirby right here.
Super Kirby, but then even directly over his shoulder, you got this like werewolf looking guy. Yeah, it's two classic art styles in comic books, but side by side, and they shouldn't go together, but they do, and that's part of the trippy fun of this comic. Yeah, definitely recommend this. And in a nutshell, how do you describe the story in like one sentence? It's Fellowship of the Gem.
It's your boy Gem Mint.
This girl, Hope Red Hood, steals like a gem from the wizard who was like the evil dictator of this fantasy land.
And the fantasy land is our Earth, San Francisco.
Sure, but it clearly has all these weird things mishmashed into it. They haven't explained the nature of the world very well, and like her and all her friends are being chased by agents of this this bad wizard emperor guy. Yeah, and that's really all the story you get.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's 6 issues out. I've read through, I think, issue 4 or 5, and
I've read 5 out of 6. I don't have number 6 yet.
And that's all that's happened is mostly just a getaway. We have a thief who is having to work with her team that aren't getting along, but if they work together, they can achieve the goal, kind of thing.
It's almost like you're not seeing a lot of new stuff in the narrative. Mm-hmm. The thing that makes this book cool is the way the story is told. So you've got the horizontal format. The artwork is bananas, awesome. But then at the end of every issue, there is a whole bunch of stuff going on in the back of the comic that I think deserves a special shout out too.
I have to know, is the community reading Echolands? What are your thoughts? What do you think about the art? And what are your thoughts on the horizontal aspect of this book? Reading it in this type of way. One of the things you mentioned that I thought was just something I didn't think about is like this as a hardcover. I do not like that style.
It's not going to sit on it's going to be hanging off a shelf. Like, very awkwardly.
But you know what? You don't go into making this type of project happen if you cared about something like that. You know, if you cared about how it's going to look like on your phone. You know
the
what
reason
I mean?
I don't have 300 in a hardcover, because that
True.
also hangs.
That sticks out.
It's not a horizontal book like this, but it's shaped so
It's shaped
awkwardly,
weird.
and I have that on Comixology, unfortunately.